Hello, BradleyATG here, coming at you with another match. This time, myself versus Neatep on Deneb. Taking a look at the starts here. Quick start, standard start for myself. First engineer gets out, captures the metal endpoint straight into a factory. That factory, I will rush build the archer, and I'll rush it using my first engineer there, where my second capture these points here. I do the archer, a little trick I picked up, I think, from watching one of GG streams. The archer can one-shot kill the creeps, and early in the game, you're really able to expand quickly with that strategy. So as those push out, I then switch my production to 2 brutes, 1 archer, and then once I can build medics after capturing a radioactive point, I add medics into the mix as well. So you can see my first engineer that was rushing there. I then pushed out to capture the radioactives. And in the meantime, I'd also started construction on another engineer. So this first engineer will continue to expand. We'll build here. And then I think I have built a smarty turret here to start destroying the creeps here. Really cool trick. I'm selfishly stealing from Chronopolize. So he builds a Smarty turret here begins to clear these creeps, and then you can capture, and then this engineer will continue to capture the radioactive and metal income points there. This engineer rushes out, builds a armory, and then will be followed by a air factory. And then one engineer comes, captures these 2 metals, will come capture here, and then we'll do the same smarty trick here as well. And then the final engineer is capturing here, these metal points, and we'll push down south as well. The final engineer I build here, I believe, comes and sets up and starts making a quantum income generator. So I start with the quantum income generator at this point for really 2 reasons. The first is it allows me to start building amplifiers. So I want to build my economy up so I can start capturing more and more items. And the amplifiers then really, you'll see you get an economic bottleneck around radioactives. So I focus on building amplifiers first on the radioactive points. The second reason I do it as well is it unlocks sort of gaining quanta income for quanta upgrades. I usually focus not on so much using the call down abilities, but instead use my resources to increase the offensive and defensive capabilities of my units. So as we zoom out, we look at map control about equal here. We can see Neatep is using the same Smarty trick in the center there. But I've got Hades bombers up, no AA, so I'll be able to sort of contain him there. The other thing I like to do is on the top flank here, with that group of units I kind of captured up here, I like to try to start to do some harassing. So by capturing this node here, it's just a quick economic dig there. He's able to recapture quickly, but we'll slow him down a little bit. And then we see on the bottom here with the Smarty turrets, I will establish map control. I also like to drop a factory so I can start building units to defend and then ultimately start pushing on the bottom. Now Deneb, it's really important to gain control of the center of the map, so you can see that's where most of the action will go. So after initially seeing that Neatep had some Smarty turrets down and is massing a large group of units, I immediately switch my T2 production to make sure I get out some artillery. The artillery then I use coupled with a radar to just start raining down on the units. It's far more economical to use the artillery to push and rain down on the units than trying just to brute force with like Athenas and Zeuses, just because the amount of units you'll lose in that push. So as you can see here, I'm raining down on artillery, and then Neatep has to respond by pushing forward. So as he pushes forward, I do lose one artillery cruiser, but then I pull back and I've got my T2 clump of units there. Generally, when someone makes a push like that, it's a signal to you as the player that, okay, I can start pushing forward. Because usually it's done out of desperation and you're really starting to reduce their unit count. So here you can see I push forward with my artillery. Sort of a mistake on my part here that I push forward those units unescorted. So this Athena will end up cleaning out a couple of my artillery units. But concurrently, while we're pushing in the center here, if you look down on the bottom of the map, with the factory and the T1 units being pushed out there, I was able to capture this node here, and I'm beginning to flank him on the bottom. So that's taking making a hit on his economy, and that will slow down the ability, his ability to produce units. So as you can see then, with the artillery units, I'm able to clear out the groups here, clear out the Smarty 2 units, and now control the center of the map with a solid chunk of T2 units. So at this point, what my engineers are doing in the back is I'm continuing on focusing on capturing and building out the radioactive points, and then putting defenses around, so particularly AA, and then a couple Smarty turrets. And that's to defend against any orbital call down abilities. Not so important against a PHC player, but substrate players, they'll do a lot of harassment with air units. So you want to make sure your key sort of choke points are contained. Also making sure I'm bulking up and keeping my defenses strong here. So on Deneb at this point, really what I like to do is then drop you can see I dropped a second radar tower here. This sort of gives me view into the main base here. So one of these armories then I have just pushing out artillery units, and I'll have the rally point sent to here. And the idea is we'll just start raining down. I also like to build just sort of a stronghold fallback defensive position in case my initial push gets pushed back. So as you can see now, I'm just going to start slowly pushing into the base here. Deneb is controlling this radioactive point is absolutely critical for the player. As you can see on the mini map here, if you lose control of that point, you really lose all of your income. So it's a main focus there. What I did here is I split my two groups of units into two different sort of waves, or two groupings here. So you can add one group, splinter off, come capture here. The idea is if I can capture off this point, you see on the mini-map, Neatep loses all of this income here, and then the second is sort of distracting those units. So again, slowly pushing in with lots of artillery support will allow me to capture that point there. So this match went in my favor with my build. Neatep was not able to disrupt my quick push there. And you can see as we flip to the economy tab here, it really tells the story. So by those couple harasses I was able to do up here on the mini map and then push down here, Neatep's income was drastically affected. And so you can see his collection was significantly below mine. And then in addition, you can see Neatep is, you can't really see it, the map's paused now, but he wasn't dropping, didn't have as many amplifiers as I did. So you see my economy just took off. And so if we look at the metal income, my middle income quickly rises and then it's more significant. And then also on the radioactive side. So when you're making more, you can build more units and that allows you to win the match. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will come back with another match in the not too distant future. Catch you guys later.